Shenanigans with Deb and Dana. Tonight we have one of my favorite guests I think we will ever have in the history of this podcast. One of the world's greatest shit posters, political correspondents on social media.
Oh, you're going to make people jealous.
Well, they should be jealous because we have the Duchess Rivulet. I'm not sure how French it is. Like if it's super French, it's Rivulet. I went to culinary school for too long, and everything's fucking French, and that would definitely be like Rivulet.
I will never in my life hear again a sentence, I went to culinary school for too long. But after an introduction like that, now I'm nervous. I have big shoes to fill.
Tonight, we are talking about the 2013 Evil Dead remake. Directed by Fede Alvarez, starring Jane Levy, Shiloh Fernandez, and Lou Taylor Pucci, kind of. He kind of sucks.
Is that the hippie?
That is the hippie.
So much to say about that fucking hippie.
So much. Duchess, you picked this movie. Why did you pick this movie?
You know, I was going to say, I know I said that this was my favorite horror movie, but after rewatching it, I now realize that this is the horror movie that scared me shitless as a kid and like ingrained into its subconscious mind. And now I had the worst time watching this because it just brought back every trauma I had. This is the first horror movie that ever scared me, so it's not my favorite.
Had you seen the originals when you saw this?
No, and I thought I didn't know the original existed. I watched this as a kid.
We start in a forest of green fog and shit.
And the girl is walking through the woods.
The girl's walking through the woods in the green woods. That's like my
Green
whole thing.
woods.
So, like, my notes tried to title this "Lost in a Green Wood."
Lost in a green wood is kind of like a beautiful sentence.
It is, but
I know,
That's
like Robert Frost.
Yes, exactly.
But like
It's
evil.
yes.
yeah. So I thought it was awesome. The beginning, just straight off, is just like hitting you in the face with fucking shit's happening. We're not playing around. Which, like, is a bit of a departure from most Evil Dead movies.
It's a huge departure.
That I love and hate. I have a love-hate relationship with how they handled that. So, like, my favorite thing, and this is like 3/4 of the way down on my notes, it's Evil Dead. Evil Dead is kind of boring at the beginning, and when shit starts, it ramps up, and it ramps up, and it ramps up. And just when you think shit cannot get crazier, shit is just getting crazier. And I think as a huge Evil Dead fan, when I first saw that, the remake, that was like my biggest problem with it. I was like, you're not following the Evil Dead formula of it's slow, and as it gets more serious and more serious, it just gets more fucking serious, and like ain't nobody fucking playing with that. This starts off crazy big. And then kind of slows down and speeds up and slows down and speeds up.
I think it stays kind of crazy big. So I spoke to somebody at Mad Monster, Miranda, and she talked about Evil Dead, the remake. And she talked about how she likes to compare movies to different types of music. And
I don't know where you're going with this, but
she
I'm here for it.
says the Evil Dead remake is just metal. It is the most metal movie. It starts hard. Yeah. It goes hard. It ends hard. It is hard. It is metal.
I can see that, but I feel like the originals, even with their comedy, are more metal.
I agree.
You know, when I compare the original to the remake, I think the loss of charm comes from like the original was such a low budget movie.
Yeah.
But like they really made magic happen with what they had. And like that's what brought a love for the Evil Dead. And now like they remade this movie and I think the budget was like $20 million.
Yeah, it was a lower budget movie.
But like now you can see like what because it's the original director too. So it's
kinda.
Sam Raimi was involved, but
yeah, I think he was a producer, and so was Bruce Campbell. We're
right,
both
but like I think that perspective makes it kind of cool to see like what the vision for this movie was had they had more money, and now that they have like better effects. And I like what they did with the pacing. In that, I think that's why it was scary for me, is because there's never like any ambiguity. Like from the beginning, it's like this is a gory demon film. Like leave now if you don't like it from the absolute get-go.
Yeah.
And like they never let off the gas.
So the original Evil Dead was not supposed to be a comedy.
No, it just was poorly made, but accidentally ended up being the best made movie ever.
But it had the charm, and it did have the comedic elements with the moose, and it did have comedic elements.
Justice for the fucking moose.
I think that the remake is what the original set out to be. But then Bruce Campbell has said they didn't want to be horror guys. So when they did...
Too bad.
No, so when they did the rest of the Evil Dead movies, they incorporated way more comedy than horror because they didn't want to be horror guys, and that's out of Bruce Campbell's mouth. It was originally supposed to be a serious horror movie. It did kind of like Killer Clowns.
So, like, I hear you, but also there is a horror version of Army of Darkness that, like, you can watch all the horror scenes that aren't comedy scenes, and they're not much different. It's mostly just the music.
Okay.
But, like, there are Army of Darkness was supposed to have been a horror movie, and like halfway through it they were just like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. Like, we're doing too much ridiculous shit, we just have to make this a comedy.
So I think this movie, it is a great movie. It is missing some of the charm and the things that I love about the original Evil Dead. I have a hard time seeing it as an Evil Dead movie, though.
The first time I ever watched it, I fucking hated it. I hated it with all my heart and soul because I was a big OG Evil Dead fan. And, like, watching this remake and there not being an Ash, there's so many nods. There's so many fucking good things. But I was just like, this is a remake. How can you remake Evil Dead and not have Ash? But there's no Ash. Ash is split between, like, every character in the movie has moments of being Ash, and no one is Ash.
There's no Bruce Campbell. I mean, he was involved, and that's why he's in every character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a beautiful thing in that the very first beginning is that beginning is such a psych out.
Yes, it is.
It's like, oh, this dude just kidnapped some, like, random chick with all these fucking hillbillies and shit. And then it's like, oh, no, that's her dad. Why would her dad do that to her? No, because that bitch is a fucking deadite, needs to fucking die, and has murdered 100 fucking people. And also, I think that's a great start for an Evil Dead movie.
It is. And the shots with the bag over her head and they're shooting from her point of view were beautiful shots.
Well, that's the Sam Raimi shots.
With the bag over the head and you're looking through her eyes and you can see the canvas. Like, I was like, wow, that's really fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
And you find out it's her dad. And he's like, nah, you killed your mom. And
yeah, it's very emotional in the beginning. I think even for an OG Evil Dead fan, that beginning just, like, kind of slaps you in the face.
Yeah, you know? And she's like, I'll rip your soul out, you pathetic fuck. I was like, whoa.
So I think that is the most important thing about the Evil Dead movies. That again is like way down in my notes, but later than this. But I think it is insane how much the Deadites have not changed. From the original movies to fucking Rise and Burn coming out next year, it shocks me. And I think that, Duchess, I think that's kind of what, like, hit you, is like, no other movie does an evil deity the way Evil Dead does it. Like, they don't give a fuck. Like, they're just gonna fucking kill you. You can't bargain with them like Hellraiser. You can't fucking talk to them and figure some stuff out and survive. Nah, bitch, you're getting fucking murdered. And that's it. Like, this is Evil Dead. Like, shit is dark and evil. And when they say stuff that's like halfway joking, like, they're just fucking with you. Like, they're just, like, all they give a fuck about is you dying. And I love the franchise from beginning to end to have that. I can't even describe it in words, but, like, if you're a fan, you know what I'm saying. Like, you watch Evil Dead movies, and the demons, the Deadites, are so hardcore.
They are. They're brutal.
Nothing compares to the evil that they do.
And like that juxtaposed with like they in this remake, they go to the cabin because of Ash's drug addiction, and like she's quitting heroin cold turkey. So then like that idea of like going through withdrawals and like the effects that has on a person, and also the way like a drug addiction like that can really tear down a family or like a friend group or things like that. And then you see them being kicked off when everyone went out there with the intention to help her, and she's the only one that survives it.
Yeah, it was kind of a huge metaphor, and Fede Alvarez talked about that briefly in the special features we saw.
I mean, he also just lied. It was like, there's no computer graphics in this movie, and I was like, I literally watched computer graphic blood drip from everyone's arm, and he was like, and the blood is the most important thing. It's so real, and I was like, yeah, it was... CG is a motherfucker.
The raining blood wasn't, which is what he was talking about.
Yeah, I know he was talking about the raining of the blood. Also, like, yeah, that was necessary. Also, like, he could have just put a fucking tube down a sleeve and not put the computer graphic blood in there.
I am a huge lover of the fact that horror is supposed to be a social commentary. I talk about it all the time. But it's the Evil Dead.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of times it is. Evil Dead, I don't think is much of a social commentary. It's a commentary on fucking, fuck you, you're gonna die.
Also, they made this one a commentary on what drug addiction does to you, and he talked about that. He was like, oh, the taker of the souls manifests as Mia's worst version of herself, the drug-addled demon that she saw herself as. And I struggle with it because I love Evil Dead. And I love when a horror movie makes a social commentary. I also think that doesn't make it an Evil Dead movie.
So I think it's beautiful that George Romero... like, kicked off social commentaries in horror movies. And Evil Dead, like, ignored that. They were like, fuck your social commentary. No, this is about fucking evil.
So after the burning scene, there is a cool overshot of the woods. I love when movies do the shining shot.
Yeah, the shining shot.
I love the shining shot.
Thank God for helicopters before drones existed.
Also, like, have you been over to the Stanley?
The Stanley Hotel?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Oh my, please go. Dana's never been. No, it's amazing. The overhead shining shot is always beautiful. It's one of my favorite things that they do in every horror movie, and I don't get mad at it anytime.
Yeah, it's just
I love
it's
it
a good
every
homage.
single time.
So also, like, they had to rent a helicopter to get that shot.
So, after that very shining like shot that is beautiful, the group of friends arrive at the cabin in typical. This movie is so full of tropes. It is typical tropey fashion, like.
And it's also so full of wonderful throwbacks that they don't always use that I think are great.
Yeah, and they came to get Mia clean.
But before that, the Delta 88 is sitting there, rusted and overgrown, right outside the cabin that is a beautiful reproduction of a cabin that didn't exist for a long time before they filmed this movie.
Yeah, and it's a pretty great reproduction.
Yeah, like, the cabin isn't perfect, but, like, I think it's just better than the original cabin, because even though the original cabin was, like, an actual real-life cabin, there was shit going on that didn't, like, quite make sense between the rooms and stuff. And, like, they did away with that, and it's a really great recreation. The shed next door to the cabin is a perfect recreation, down to the chainsaw and everything that people don't use till the end. So, Duchess, you have, at this point in time, seen Evil Dead 1 and 2, correct?
Right.
Right, so do you feel like, after you have seen the OGs, do you think that this is a good remake?
No. I don't think. Remember, my perspective is watching this movie having not known
Yeah.
the original even existed.
Yeah.
So, like, this is a great movie.
Yes.
But, like, to compare this to the original is a disservice to both.
Yes.
They're different. And, like, the charm of the original Evil Dead is not that it is scary or profound or innovative. It's just, like, the personality that comes through it because of the circumstances it was made on.
Yeah, well, I think it's, like, very profound that they just accidentally bullshitted together one of the greatest horror films ever made.
Yeah, I mean profound in that, like, there was, like, intention to go out and create the world's greatest horror film, and, like, that wasn't.
The first one's a college project. Dude was just fucking
exactly.
It was like his college thesis on film that he just, like, accidentally made.
The charm of that, like, the soul of that, like, the artistry in that, you can't, like, replicate. Like, you'll never be able to remake that, and that's why, like, knowing that and considering them, like, to be separate projects, seeing the evolution of someone's vision from, like, when they had nothing but a dream and when they had arguably, like, unlimited resources to a point.
Well,
and, like,
Yeah, it wasn't just a college project that they were funding out of their own fucking pockets. Yeah.
Exactly. And to see, like, how the story evolved. Like, I think if you're going to compare them, like, to compare them in that, take the depravity in the Evil Dead remake, or the 2013 version, rather.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what, like, because you don't see that. And, like, they just committed to being terrible. But even, like, the gore, you kind of get, like, unfazed by it. At a certain point, like, there's only so much blood that can, like, drip from a post before I'm, like, over it. But then it's, like, it's also, like, the disturbing imagery. So, like, you're getting hit from every angle of, like, you don't have any peace watching this. Like, there's nowhere you can go. And, like, that's exactly how these characters feel of, you can't, like you said, like, you can't bargain with it. You can't, like, stop and understand it. You can't formulate a plan. You're just, like, always under assault.
Yeah, like
And I think
they,
that's what makes it terrifying for me.
you can't reason with them. You can't do shit. They're gonna fucking kill you, and it is what it fucking is.
And it's not even like a waiting game. It's just like the efficiency
Yeah.
of like, this is what it came to do.
And like,
And you didn't stand a chance.
I think that's a part of the evil that I think hits so well in every Evil Dead movie, is that like they don't pull punches. Like, it's just like they're just fucking with you. They're just fucking making, they think it's funny themselves. They're gonna kill you one way or the fucking other. You know, like I think even in The Exorcist, they don't pull off demonic evil as well as Evil Dead does. What are you doing? Deborah is just like eating fucking food and shit.
I was sorry about that. I was eating a chicken finger.
Oh. What's better, drums or fucking wings, Deb?
Flats.
Fuck you. You don't believe that.
I love flats, and I tell you that every day of my life.
Flats are the best.
Yep.
Flats. Flats.
Oh, fucking God.
And maybe it's a Colorado thing. Flats.
Is it a Colorado thing?
Maybe.
I feel like drums
flats.
are easier to dip. I've told you this a million times on
I
Facebook.
like flats better. Flats are better.
They're not. Then you gotta
Drums are not easier to dip.
They are. You gotta like pour sauce onto the fucking flat.
No, you don't. You dip.
How are you eating the flat?
Oh my God.
Flats. It is
You guys.
flats all
you
the way.
take the little bone out, and then you dip what's left, and then you eat the whole thing. Yeah, whereas like a drum mat, you have to like dip and then turn and then dip and then turn. Whereas like I can
Thank
do
you.
Easy and convenient.
What are you doing in that moment? That's so important. You need to be so efficient. You don't have any time to remove the little bone.
Enjoying
All
the
you
other
have to do
side.
in this moment is eat chicken wings.
So, oh goodness, Dana, take over.
Then we got the brother giving his sister the same necklace that Ash gave two girlfriends. It's a sequel, not a remake. Evil Dead 1 and 2, even though it's the exact same fucking movie.
Okay, well, it is a remake. This is a remake.
This is a remake, but
and that's
it's not.
fair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like a bunch of throwbacks, and like the first time I watched it, every time I saw a throwback, I rolled my fucking eyes, and I was just like, oh my God, you could have done this better? But that was when it first came out, and I was hating on it hard because this movie didn't need to be remade, and I think now, 20 years late, 10, 15, whatever fucking goddamn time later
12
years later, I'm like, okay, it's not a remake. Then don't just name it Evil Dead again. Name it Evil Dead again. Or name it Evil Dead : fucking anything. Because I think it's not shown, it's not proven. I think this movie is just another thing that's happening at the same place.
I think I would have liked
Evil
it
Dead 1
better.
and 2, which are the same movie, whatever.
But a little different.
Sequel. Yeah. I think Army of Darkness happened. And then this movie also happens at the same cabin again later, and it's just a crazy coincidence that he gave his sister the same necklace that Ash gave two girlfriends and didn't remember that all of this had already happened to him before in Evil Dead 2.
I think I would have liked this movie better had they done more on the lines of this being just another thing happening.
Ash's car was sitting there. Also, like, Ash's shotgun and chainsaw were also both sitting there. They couldn't have possibly been sitting there, but
I think they tried to make the movie Evil Dead, tried to be like a serious movie. I think this movie would have been better had it been something else that just happened in the cabin, but they ignored everything completely. This movie would have been great had Bruce Campbell, showed up at the cabin.
For us fucking 1 second. My whole original viewing of this movie and spending the entire time going, all right, this is a remake. Who the fuck is Ash? And then, like,
Everybody's
by the end
Ash.
of the movie being like, all right, so Ash is, like, everyone?
Yeah, everyone's Ash.
Ash should have just shown up somehow, some way for 1 second, and all of that would have been, like, glossed over.
Goodness, we are only here.
Yeah, we are in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
So they walk into the cabin, because they're not even in the cabin yet.
So I want to say...
Oh, God.
Still here in the beginning. If you are going on a mountain trip to a cabin to get off of drugs, that bitch threw like $400 worth of drugs down
I
that
wasn't gonna
fucking
bring it
well.
up.
Like, why would you bring that many drugs with you to throw down a well? Like,
Because she was doing them the whole way up.
cool, like, you're going to get sober, like, why do you have so much drugs? I'm not even sure, because it's never made clear what drug that is, but no matter what drug that was, that's a bunch of money. Also,
well, she has a heroin addiction. This is what gets me. This cabin is their family cabin.
Yeah.
Like Mia and her brother. It's their family cabin, and, like, you're going to this family cabin that you used to, like, have all these dreams and adventures in. Get off from your drugs. One, I feel like there should have been, like, more maintenance throughout the years of this cabin, because, like, have that book get there, have the cat get there. Who's doing the cat? Because remember they signed.
Oh, those motherfuckers hate cats.
So they find all the cats. How is she? How is the girl in the beginning related to them? Because how would all of this shit go down at your family cabin and you guys not know?
Well, so wasn't the original movie
like this
somebody's
book
family?
you can't destroy the book. So then this must have been happening over and over and over and over again.
For
and
decades.
You're staying at this cabin, growing up, and, like, no one's noticed. But that book summons the demon, right? And you have to stay the encampment. Who's killing the cat? To leave them in, like, who did that?
Who's killing the cats, and how did they not smell it before?
All of
the administrative assistant of a demon to, like, do these cats. Like, where the cats come from?
All of those fucking childhood photos are literally, like, pinned to the wall when they get there.
Yeah, it's wild because they make it seem like that whole thing happened forever ago, but, like, you would have smelled that shit in your family cabin.
Yeah, also that was wild as fuck when, like, Mia's first getting possessed and she's like, oh, it smells like death, and everybody's like, I don't smell anything. But, like, the floorboards have, like, an inch fucking gap between each floorboard. There's no fucking way everyone wouldn't have smelled that.
It doesn't make sense. It makes zero sense. And that might be the biggest failure of this movie, is the continuity.
Well, so the original OG movies didn't try to have continuity.
This movie tried, though. What are your thoughts on it? We kind of cut you off.
But, like, where did the book come from?
So,
because the book, after they destroy it, it just, like, builds itself back again.
So,
and it
like,
takes 200 years?
So that's kind of my thing on saying it's just another thing that happens at the fucking cabin. Is that, like, in the original movies, dude was, like, an archaeologist or some shit and dug it up in Sumeria.
Yeah, they
and
never...
Stuff. And, like, I think that book has just been there through one. And this movie, like, you know, no, it's not made clear at any point in time, but, like, I think maybe the chick getting burnt at the beginning happened before 1 or 2 even happened.
Remember when it was, like, 200 years ago, they had the book and they were, like, doing rituals.
Yeah.
And now the book is back. So who's doing the rituals to bring those cats over? And why wouldn't that person show up at all? It's
their
like
mom.
their mom was doing... But those cats were not old.
Their mom, their mom was crazy. Their mom.
Wait, she was at the cabin?
Maybe their mom was one of the. Maybe no, none of them survived. I was like, maybe their mom was in the original, but none of them.
I don't think it's a remake. I think it's its own project.
Yeah, like I feel
like it has to be viewed that way, because then it's like, even if there are, like, Easter eggs and hat tips, Like, it doesn't make sense in a timeline.
It can't. But all the main points are still hit. I think Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell producing this movie both knew this wasn't what should have happened exactly. But they were there and got the feel of the movies, which is there 100 billion
It
percent.
is, minus the comedy. There's nothing comedic in this movie.
No.
Nothing.
No.
Hippie-looking dude looks so much like Jared Leto.
Lou Taylor Pucci. This fucking guy is
And
the downfall of the movie.
My favorite part of the movie was Jared Leto-looking guy when he said, "It's Evil Dead in time." Somebody out there somewhere is gonna laugh their fucking ass off.
Also, like, if I open a book that says, "Do not read this, do not write it, do not say it,"
I would absolutely do that.
Yeah,
There's
but
no
also,
question I would do that.
Yeah, fuck you. I
How
wouldn't.
many
I'm not an
rituals
idiot.
fail because, like, no one knows how to pronounce that language? And, like, try as they might to summon this demon, but they just can't pronounce his name right, and that's the end of the movie.
Facts. That would have been.
But, like, every single time, it's like, I've actually studied Latin profusely, so, like, this is my time to shine, and I will summon our death.
Like, same. Like, I like, instead of taking languages that mattered in high school, I took Latin.
On the off chance that we might be in a cabin
Right.
and find a demonic book.
Yes.
I want to be able to read what it says.
I hadn't even seen The Evil Dead at that point in time. I had just seen, like, The Exorcist, and I was like, if I ever have to do an exorcism,
Dana,
like,
you
I
wouldn't
need to
even
take
climb
Latin.
a fence with barbed wire at the top. You're not going to cut barbed wire off a book.
When did I not climb a fence?
Carolina Fear Fest, when I tried to climb the fence and gouged my hand open.
I went under it.
You told me to go over it! It was all the Uber driver's fault.
Oh, it was. That dude was wild. This
We got
dude
an
is
Uber.
going the wrong way down every road that we're on
It was terrifying.
and
I
asking
complained.
us where we're trying to go constantly, and we're like, you're a fucking Uber driver.
We don't live here.
Are you sure?
I don't know where we are. We put in where we need to go, and this isn't it. And then we were just like, bruh,
Let
us out. This is in the area of where we need to go. And then we were like, well, I think we got like a mile walk or we can get past this fence. And Deb was like, fuck it. I'm fucking 39. I'm gonna fucking hike it right the fuck over this motherfucker. And I was like, Deb, there's barbed wire and shit. Which she got, like, seriously injured, and then I was just like, well, I lifted the fence up and walked under it. Anyway, yeah, so Duchess, if we're ever hanging out and we need to go over or under a fence, don't listen to me. If I say go under, that's probably the wrong way to go.
Just always do the opposite of what Dana says, because he's fucking with you.
I'm always wrong.
So, it was a great weekend.
Yeah, no.
Carolina Fear Fest always is. Oh, shout out Carolina Fear Fest.
Alright, back to the movie.
Okay, back to the movie.
So, we get our first little monster vision moment while he is opening the Necronomicon. But I guess it is a monster vision moment, but like it also like pans into just being a shot.
Clearly the barbed wire says stay away, and it was kind of a cheap jump scare, that monster vision.
Also, like, just don't open that.
No.
So somebody is orchestrating this. Like, there is a person in the physical realm who's collecting the book and putting the cats in this specific cabin for some reason.
I think it was to try to keep the demon away. They were sacrificing the cats to the taker of souls and giving them the cat souls. That was my takeaway.
I like that. I like that.
I'm kind of with that, but
I think we're thinking way too much more.
No, we're not thinking way too much in it. It's just like everything about this situation screams no.
Yeah.
So like off from the very beginning. And like this guy, Eric, who like goes out of his way to like bypass barbed wire, unsaved by human leather, reads all these notes in English, mind you, don't do this. And there's like a putrid smell of like animals.
He couldn't
City
smell
cats,
that,
no less. It's like at no point did you stop with no red flag.
So I think the book maybe possessed him way before because he was so entranced by the book and didn't realize anything else going on. Mia is like trying to kill people and he's still just looking at the book.
I think the book was better with a human face actually on
Yeah, I didn't like this Necronomicon.
I got really confused by the fact that Morbius was in this movie.
That
stupid hippie made the entire forest rapey.
I don't want to say I like that scene because it's like
Well,
nobody likes the scene, but they did a great. The tree is so grimy and so gross.
It made me uncomfortable. It made me deeply uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
In a way I cannot articulate.
And
And
I
like,
think
this is what that movie set out to do.
And
Yeah.
I think it does.
So like, great.
All 3 Evil Dead movies, I think the tree rape scene is equally as crazy. Even in the comedy of the second one. Lets you know that, like, maybe some shit is laughable, but, like, there's some evil shit-afoot.
I cringed the most during this movie in the tree scene. It was...
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
It was kind of a brutal scene.
You know, like, you see a guy get kicked in the balls, and it's like, oh, I think that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that scene is, like, the first time I can ever relate to, like, that is viscerally disgusting.
Oh, absolutely. It was...
Like, that is my kick in the balls.
So, I think the best and worst line in this entire movie, which is right here where we are, is fucking Morbius says, everything has been getting worse every second. And I think in Evil Dead 1 and 2, everything gets worse every second. And that's part of the reason I didn't like this movie on first watch, is there's so many reprieves. There's so much time that things aren't getting worse. They're just like shit gets crazy, and then it chills for like a minute or two.
It never chills.
It does.
She kills the dog and then burns her flesh off in the shower. Then the road is washed out.
That's the thing.
When
Like
she vomits in that girl, Olivia's face.
Mm-hmm.
In the
Olivia
originals,
kills herself.
Eric kills Olivia.
but that's the point. Like, that's my point that I'm making here. Is like, it's only like a few seconds, but between each one, it's like they talk for a minute and fucking like progress the plot. In the original movies, there's no one talking. There's no reprieve. There is no single millisecond of people talking between the insanity.
There isn't.
It's just getting more insane and more insane, and there's no stop.
The reprieve in the original is the little slapstick nods in there that make you giggle.
Reprieves.
They are, because they make you laugh. Nothing in this movie makes you laugh. There's a moose.
Justice for the fucking moose. Why is there no moose in this fucking movie?
Yeah, there's no moose, and I hate that.
That's the worst part of this entire movie, is there's no fucking moose.
But
The Evil Dead musical that we went and saw had a casting call for the moose. How the fuck is there no moose in this movie? I think my favorite scene in this movie is in the shower room.
The shower room?
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, because, like, it's not even it's, like, barely even a bathroom. The shower is just, like, next to the toilet with no curtain or anything. So, like, he, like, slips and hits his head on the toilet, and then she slips and breaks her back on the fucking... That was one of the best physical horror scenes I think I've ever seen in my life. Like, it
was a brutal fight.
It was... The way he hits his head on that toilet, and it's like a close-up on him. It's not a stunt man or anything. Like, that dude did that shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how he wasn't fucking sent to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, when the chick gets hurt, like, that shit's brutal too, but it's not like a close-up of her face while it happens.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why he got the part in this movie, being a lesser actor.
That bathroom scene was gnarly as fuck.
Yeah, I
that
think that
whole
was the best
fight,
scene in
it
the
was
whole
for
fucking
sure,
movie.
and it was
Yeah.
gnarly as fuck. I think they did like the sound effects really well in this movie. The cabin,
the sound effects.
the sound
were
effects, the cabin sounds were creepy. Some of the voice effects were a little cheesy. Whoever did the sound recording in this movie.
I have a little bit later of a note. I always talk about the soundtrack because that's a dream of mine, is to score movies and stuff. So the soundtrack is fine. It's good, but it's like couldn't be more forgettable. There's a lot of audio effects that are definitely from Evil Dead 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
There was one scene, and like I didn't write it down, like almost on purpose, because I was like, I won't forget this. But it was like hippie dude like opened a cabinet in the beginning, and it was like the exact sound of something that happened in the first.
Yeah.
So like I expected something crazy to happen, and it absolutely didn't. It was a sound effect from the first movie that was like to trigger a big fan. You know?
Yeah.
And then, like, it led to nothing. I respected it because it did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're almost at the end, guys.
Yeah, I know. We almost made it.
We've almost made it. Or did we? Or are we all just deadites? You know where we're at? We are at the 2 points that I hate about this movie.
Okay, go for it.
One is blonde chick whose name doesn't matter.
Natalie.
So she cuts her own arm off with a 70s turkey carver. You know what you can't do? Cut through human fucking bone.
Bone?
No, there is 2 points. I hate
Cut
this.
through 2 fucking solid inches of real ass human bone with a 70s bread carver.
Oh, and they focused on the carver, so
hard. That shit wouldn't even cut human flesh. It would just like.
it would, but not bone.
Not much. It would just get hung up and quit working.
Yeah. After the electric bread knife.
Then we go straight into.
Oh, here we're gonna talk about this.
The worst thing I've ever seen in a movie in my life.
And we talked about a little bit in American Psycho.
But that was a fantasy, and he didn't actually use it. He just got a fucking air gun that's just fucking shooting magical fucking bullets.
The air pressure would have been so loud.
The thing, I think it's like the nail gun and like that scalding hot shower.
Yeah, both.
In a cabin that was abandoned for 10 years. Like, who's paying the electric bill? Who started the plumbing? Like, it's these like little things where it's like,
I want hot water like that in my house.
Yeah, same, but also like
honestly,
going from the hot water heater to the shower, it cannot, under any human circumstances,
burn flesh.
Come out boiling. So, it worked out fine. But I would not dismember, bury somebody, and then just immediately dig them back up. Like, the second the dirt is fucking done being put on top, he dug her ass back up.
Okay, so it took me a minute to figure this out. I was like, what fucking contraption is he making? Like, he knows how to make a bomb. Why didn't he just burn her? And I even said that. His plan was to bury her alive and kill her and shock her and bring her back to life. Having had to shock people back to life, like, I get where the movie was going with it. That's all good and fair, I guess. I don't love the ending of this movie.
We got the blood. It's raining a lot of blood. It was 26,000 gallons of fake blood. And I think that was mostly what he was talking about, was the ending scene that didn't have any CGI, but he made it sound like he didn't use CGI at all, which was a fucking lie.
The raining blood they showed wasn't CGI.
But, like, that also pissed me off the whole movie, how much CGI blood was used. All horror movie blood comes from what Sam Raimi did in Evil Dead 1, and they didn't use his movie blood. Like, how are you going to remake Evil Dead and it not be red-dyed Karo syrup? The invention of movie blood and the most important filmmaking aspect of the Evil Dead movies, and they didn't use that.
I do think the makeup and effects in this movie are done pretty well.
Pretty well.
And my takeaways are, overall, I don't hate it. It's missing Bruce Campbell, basically.
I think all that really matters after this rewatch, I watched it new and I watched it like now. And the first time I watched it, I just like went into it hating it because Evil Dead didn't need to be re-fucking made. And this time I watched it not hating it and liked it a whole hell of a lot more because it does have the heart and soul.
So you said this is the movie that scared you most as a child.
Yes.
Why did you pick this movie for your podcast with us?
I thought it was my favorite movie.
Okay.
I thought it was my favorite horror movie. But upon rewatching it, like, this was trauma. I'm trauma bonded to this movie.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And now all I remember is, like, the nightmares I had for, I think, 2 weeks.
So I think also I love that, and that is the purpose of this movie. It was for another generation, and you are that generation after me. Mm-hmm. I had nightmares about the original for weeks.
Yeah, like this was, and I didn't know the original existed. Like this was just like how I interpreted this movie as like a standalone project, and it rattled me.
I can see
and no
that.
other movie has been able to do that since.
Have you watched Evil Dead Rise?
No, I haven't.
You should. It's
same vibe. It's got
good.
That same fucking vibe. Like you probably like it a lot. Duchess, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
I'm so glad you came on and we got to chat.
I had a great time. I love your guys' energy. You guys are too cute.
Oh, thank you.
One of my favorite Facebook friends of all time. It has been an absolute. I'm such a big fan of yours.
Oh, he's fangirling.
Like, I am straight up. I have been this whole time straight up fangirling over you. It has been so fucking cool to get to talk to you.
That means the world to me. Like,
and I mean that. I fucking really ass mean that.
No, that means so much. You made my night, truly. Because, I'm making these, like, stupid jokes in my room. And, like, to know that they brighten someone else's day, that means so much.
Thank you so much. Seriously, I mean that so much.
No, thank you, guys. We'll have to do this again sometime. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We did, too, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, and we love you motherfuckers. Good night.
Good night.